Hello everyone. Today I'm coming at you with a slightly different kind of video. Over the years I've had so many people, and by the way, this is Lynn McKenzie of Animal Alchemy, and over the years I've had so many people come to me, and this is Pixie Rose, my sweet little 3.5-pound Yorkie. And a couple people, many people, have actually wanted to know how I got into doing what I do, namely animal communication and healing. I prefer to call myself an animal intuitive, so helping people intuitively with their animals, especially through the death and dying process and the reincarnation process and connecting with the animals in the afterlife. And coming to a place of creating a signature program called the Animal Energy Certification Training Program. Animal Energy is my trademark name, and it's been trademarked now for many, many years, at least 10, I would say, probably more. I can't remember. So anyways, just to help you get to know me a little bit better, for those of you who don't, and Pixie's licking my fingers here, which is her favorite thing to do, and she's grumbling because I'm moving her. I made myself a couple notes so I wouldn't forget things. So it's a hot, sunny day here in Arizona for a change. Probably about 105 out there. But basically, I'm going to give you a really short version going all the way back to when I was a child. I literally, my feet hit the floor in this plane, loving animals and having a real affinity and a draw and attraction to them. So that was the start of it all. And then as I got into teenage years, basically, I had a lot of interest in anything, metaphysical, spiritual, etc. And my mother was actually interested in psychics. So she went to psychics and we ended up going to psychics. And that is kind of how my whole story starts. And then when I was 21, my entire family we decided to take the Silva method training. So the Silva method isn't specifically it's about the power of your mind, but it really gets into accessing other realms and learning how to use the energy and be able to read energy and all that kind of thing. So that was when I was 21, way back. And so I had always been interested and pursued my interests in the spiritual, metaphysical, personal transformational, personal growth genres. And after an incredibly difficult time in my life, which we all have for the most part if we're human, and oftentimes it's the most difficult times in our lives that actually give us the biggest opportunities for transformation. And we can decide to kind of go down the rabbit hole, or we can decide to, get onto an upward spiral and really help ourselves to move to the next highest level of what is in store for us. So, although it didn't necessarily feel that way, that's what I was doing. So I was on a mission. I was really on a mission to heal myself. And to find my true calling, to find my soul's divine mission, as I like to call it. So I had kind of come across some really cool practitioners who worked in many of the really old kinesiology modalities, such as Touch for Health, PKP, One Brain, and different I ones and all kinds. I think it's DMR or something like that. I can't even remember the name of it now. But there was there was a number of practitioners, and a group of them were friends, and I had actually gone to see a number of them. And, again, questioning my true purpose. And I had decided and I was in real estate, by the way, and I had decided that although I liked it and I was good at it, it wasn't necessarily what I felt was the highest expression of my soul on this plane. I felt like I had other work to do. So I had decided to take some, I did a bit of career counseling, and I had decided to become a spiritual psychotherapist. So that was a decision I made, which ended up, I never ended up practicing specifically that, but it's a decision that I made that led me to some other areas in my life where I was meant to go. So sometimes when we make a decision, it's actually a stepping stone to the next, it's like a jump off point for the next step. And so it's been, and all of these steps, I would say, were very much guided by spirit, the universe, source, God, whatever it is that you call your higher power. So I went to the Transformational Arts College in Toronto, Ontario, which is where I was living at the time. As you can see, I'm here in Arizona, and that is all part of this whole upward spiral for me. So I went to the Transformational Arts College, and in order to get into their 2-year spiritual psychotherapy training, you had to complete a 10-course program, which could take a year or two, probably a couple of years in itself, called Discovering the Total Self, where we worked with meditation and chakras, and we got into, we did readings, we learned all about, emotional kind of intelligence, so to speak. We learned how to, how to really take responsibility for and shift the things in your life that you're not liking. So that was my next step on my journey. And when I registered, I thought in my mind that, yeah, I'll probably just become a psychotherapist and, eventually give up my real estate career. Well, that wasn't exactly how it happened, because the deeper I got into that training, the more I liked everything energetic. I just lit up when anything energetic happened, and there was lots of it in that, I did about 4 years in a 3-year period or whatever, so it was pretty heavy duty. And all the while still supporting myself and all of my interests with my real estate career. And so I ended up thinking I'd work with humans, of course, and I do work with humans, but not to the degree that I had envisioned it way back when. So I got into that training, and I just realized what I had was a huge passion for the energetics, for the psychic side of things, for the anything to do with the invisible realm, personal growth, personal transformation, spiritual growth, all of that. So thinking I'd work with humans, I went through that training. But before I even finished, one of the practitioners I had seen for a lot of energy work, her name was Joy. She had let me know about some courses that she had taken that she thought, because I said, I'm really jonesing for what you're doing. I want to do this. This is my jam. I really want to do what you're doing. And it's great that I have what I have to help me along the way. So she ended up telling me about a training, which I took. And from there, I just literally, it was like one stepping stone after the other. And I took every single. So I'm coming off of a 4-year program in 3 years. A really, in-depth, long, in-depth program. And lots of personal work in that. And then I jumped right into something called body alignment technique. And I liked it. After I took level 1, I liked it so much I took level 2, and then I went on to take level 3, and then I went on to take level 4, which gets really in depth and is very complex, I think. And even went beyond that and took a training called Vortex Alignment, which my teacher, Jeff Levine, also offered. So I really got into that, and from there, he mentioned some other trainers, and I went and took color therapy training with a woman named Audrey up in Midland, Ontario. Again, I'm still in Canada. I took so many different trainings. People would ask me, I took angel therapy, color therapy, aromatherapy. I have a list, feng shui. I have a list so long that it's probably like 30. I'm trained in 32 different or more probably. So, I did everything that I could find that was holistic. So then I had started to do my practice. I was still in real estate, and I started to try to build my practice with humans. And, I had a few, and it was great, but it wasn't like it wasn't, really floating my boat as much as I'd hoped it was, I guess. And then all of a sudden, I came about a training for animal communication. And as soon as I saw it, I just lit up. And I went and did some animal communication training, and it was all, every single step I took was led by the step before me. And I went and did that, and I loved it immediately. As a child, or as a young adult, I guess I was a teenager, I really got into horses. I mean, I had animals my whole life. I had every single animal my parents would allow me to have, plus some they didn't allow me to have. I remember bringing a mouse home one day, right before they were going out for the evening on a Saturday, and the babysitter was there, and I came home just in the nick of time, and I had a mouse with me, and of course the mouse escaped overnight because we didn't have the proper housing for the mouse, and the mouse was lost in our house and whatever. But we had, I had fish and turtles before my parents would let me get a dog. And in grade 2 they I was in grade 4, sorry, my sister was in grade 2. They got us a dog. And I wanted a horse, and I had my dog doing jumping courses in the backyard, of course, without a rider. I wasn't that mean. And just any animal I could get my hands on, I would have. So I couldn't wait till I got out of my home so I could have, get my own animals. It's amazing I haven't got 20 or 30. So anyhow, clients of mine started asking me to work on their animals, and all of the trainings I had done were for, had taken were for humans, but there was ways to kind of transfer what I was doing with humans to the animals. And when I did that, it literally took off like a bat out of hell. It really just took off so incredibly fast. It was just amazing. And funny, I'm seeing a black shadow, and I'm wondering why I'm seeing that. That's strange. I don't know what this is to my left. It's so weird. Yeah, no, I don't know what that black thing is. There is nothing there that's black. That is very bizarre. I'm wondering, I don't know. I'll keep the video going. We're 12 minutes in, but I don't know what that thing to my left is. It's not an evil spirit, so don't worry. So anyways, my practice just took off. People were calling me and telling their friends, and their friends were calling me. And, not too far into it, I started teaching, of course, I think I taught my first animal communication program back in like 93 or 94. So we're talking a long time. And I was just going to mention another point. Oh yeah, I know my point. I didn't write it on my notes, but I know it. So even the Toronto Star phoned me. And the Toronto Star called me and asked me if they could do an article on me. And I remember being so excited because the Toronto Star, if you live in Toronto, the Toronto Star is kind of like the New York Times. I mean, people in New York might laugh at that, but it is. And then there's Canada Press. So when something gets published in the Toronto Star, Canada Press picks it up, and it can go right across the country, which is what happened to my article. I don't know how this happened, but I got pretty much the topic. The article was the whole, I think it was the whole front cover of the life section, and the inside, and half of the inside back page of the life section. So the whole front page and the inside back page. It was really remarkable because the Toronto Star was not open to this kind of stuff. It's just that there happened to be a writer there at the time who loved this stuff and convinced her editor. She had a very open-minded editor, she told me, and she convinced her editor, and she phoned me to see if she could write about me. And I mean, that was in 2000. So we're talking, I guess quite a lot of years ago, 19 years ago now, but it seemed early in my career for this to happen. And I remember that she said, it's going to come out soon, it's complete, it's all been approved, and we don't know what day. It's going to be any day between this day and that day, and it was like a big range. And one of my friends, called me one morning while I was still in bed sleeping, and she's like, wake up, you're in the Star today. And, of course, I had the paper delivered. These were the old days. And I ran out to the the front and grabbed my paper and pulled it in. And I remember being so excited and so happy and so terrified at the same time, because I was a realtor, and a fairly well-known realtor in Toronto. I had lots of clients. I've been selling real estate for 16 years at the time, I think. Well, maybe not at that time, but I sold real estate in total for 16 years, or 16 or 18, I think. So anyways, I remember thinking, oh my gosh, it's so exciting. And it's like, my gig is up. I've come out of the closet as a cuckoo. As my friend always says, I'm woo-woo, not cuckoo. And I like to think of myself that way. I'm pretty grounded. So anyways, I've been on lots of different TV and radio shows. I've written articles for numerous magazines, and I've had numerous magazines write articles about me and my work. So, and my most, one of the things that was kind of exciting was in 2010, I was chosen, my picture with a horse was chosen as the cover for Species Link, the Journal of Interspecies Telepathic Communication, which was really exciting. I didn't even know it had been chosen until I saw some people I knew talking online amongst each other saying, isn't it cool that Lynn is on the cover? And I'm like, what? So that was kind of exciting. Anyways, all of that led me, I had been teaching for years, and I preferred to combine the psychic abilities with the animal communication, or the interspecies telepathic communication, because I don't believe it's all in words for some people. I mean, I believe there's many different ways. I have this three paths, thing that I do with my students. Thing is not the best word, but there's three paths. Like, I do a reading for students for the three paths to be able to communicate with the animals. And I really do include a lot of healing in my training, because healing is as important. And sometimes it's in the healing that we're able to, the work of the healing, that we're able to actually open up our deeper intuitive channels. So that led me to my flagship Animal Energy Certification training, which has been going on now for, I want to say, it's either 4 or 5 years. And we have people from all over the world. We've had over 1,000 students through it from all over the world. I can't say every continent, but a lot of continents. So that is kind of my story. And I have 2 sweet little doggies. I've got my Pixie Rose here, who I just put down for a minute. I've got Pixie Rose, the little teeny weeny Yorkie, who's going, I don't want to be in the camera. And I've got my elderly, almost 12-year-old Maltese Carly, who many of you have probably seen. So anyways, I'm going to be posting more information about them. Carly has a few issues. Carly's got diabetes, and when dogs get diabetes, it's type 1. But I do all the things that you need to do for a diabetic, and she's living a pretty good quality of life for a diabetic dog. So I hope that is, I hope that is insightful for some of you and helps you get to know me better. And I hope you're really enjoying these dog days of summer. I'm going to write a little bit about it on my little note to you that comes out with this video if you're on my mailing list. And I do have, by the way, I just want to mention, I have a couple free trainings at lynnmckenzie.com. Lynn is with 2 N's. McKenzie is with an MC. I have a free training. You can see the tab for the free training on the right-hand side of your screen. This might be coming out backwards because I'm on my iPhone. And, oh, I know what you're seeing. You're seeing this side of my light ring, which I don't even have turned on. Okay, well, I knew it wasn't a ghost. I didn't position my phone correctly in the ring. It's centered, but it has to be off center because of the way my phone holder is. Anyways, back to on the top right-hand side corner of lynnmckenzie.com, I have a free Making the Heart Connection with Your Animal Companions training, and we have a number of other different trainings. We have a free webinar, etc. So if you get in there with that free training, you can find some other avenues to go if you'd like to go a little bit deeper with this. So abundant blessings, everyone. Happy dog days of summer, and when you receive this, I am going to be back in Canada, having a little bit of time away from Arizona, and I look forward to seeing you when I'm back, and maybe I'll make a couple little videos while I'm there. Bye-bye now.